So here he says that the book will prove that genocide followed humanity throughout history and that the last centuries have been particularly abundant in genocide cases. He says, the basic difficulty consists in the fact that the standards of conduct between individuals disappear in relations between one group and another. And this is just a fragment. He goes on and on. So here's the table of contents that I scanned from one of these draft introductions to his proposed World History of Genocide, which was never published, mind you. So I don't think there's any getting away from the proposition that colonial cases were intrinsic to Lemkin's global imaginary of genocide. Now, how did Lemkin come to this? He actually was fascinated with Las Casas, who wrote the short account of the destruction of the Indies. He was a Spanish priest who denounced the excesses of the Spanish conquest of the Americas. It inaugurated, as I see, a Western tradition of criticizing imperial conquests and enslavement. And Lemkin is at the end point of that development over 500 years. Now, here are his words. The history of genocide provides examples of the awakening of humanitarian feeling, which gradually has been crystallized into formulae of international law. And it's interesting how he ends this, right? In this evolution, history was also made by John Hay, the American Secretary of State, who in 1902 instructed the American minister of Romania to protest against massacres in the following words. Now, he means massacres of Jewish people. This country, America, cannot be a silent party to an international wrong. So, this notion of shocking the conscience of mankind, which appears in de las Casas's book, has become intrinsic to the way that ever since, so the last 500 or 600 years, people have scandalized what they see as unacceptable excesses of state violence, mainly in colonial cases. And the key words, of course, are shocking the conscience of mankind. Like, what do these mean? Okay. It's very much context dependent. And it's clear at the time that labor exploitation, so the enslavement of Indians in silver mines, which had massive mortality in Latin America, were part of this sense of shocking. When these humanitarians were writing in the 19th and early 20th century, there was an emphatic belief in the civilizing mission, and these humanitarians weren't necessarily against that. So they weren't against the expansion of Europe, but they were against its excesses.